welcome back. The 5 L's, The Gift of a Balanced Life, is a book that's providing tools for the work-life balance and also your mental wellness to thousands of individuals on a global basis. Now, joining us are the co-author of the 5 L's, The Gift of a Balanced Life, and the co-founders of Unparalleled Performance, Michael Mannix and Sal LaGreca. And as I said before the segment even started, looking forward to having this time of sharing, because this is an area that I just fail in, but I'm glad I got you guys. Good to have you.
So excited to be here. We failed too. That's why we wrote the book.
Well, yeah, well, talk about that for a minute, because honestly, I think, I joke about it, but there's so many people that really fall into the same category. So I'm saying I'm not by myself here, but give us about why is there such a problem between the work and the life balance?
Daren, we hear that all the time. Because at the end of the day, it's the way people define success. I mean, if you look at the media, right? It's, if I have more than you, I'm more successful than you. If I have a better title than you, if I have a nicer car, I have a nicer house, it push. And unfortunately, we all fall into that trap. And, this constant drive to work, do more, be better. And what you lose sight of is, number one, your self-love, which is the first L, and the people that you're doing it for, right? So going back to that love and making sure that you have life balance is critical. And what we've seen, unfortunately, both Sal and I saw, because we only had one L, and both of us only had labor, and it put me in the hospital, and it actually devastated Sal's life.
Absolutely.
And Sal, talk to me about it from your perspective, because we talk about 5 L's. Let's go through what these 5 L's actually are.
Yeah. All right. Let me give you a quick overview on the 5 L's. It's something I came up with over 30 years ago, and it's been in my head for that long, until I met Mike about 3 years ago, who said, you got to write a book.
It's my fault.
Yeah. And I said, I'm not going to write a book. I'll read a book. I'm not going to write the book. And then 3 years later, we have the book. But here's an overview of the 5 L's. The first one is love, because without it, all else fails. And it's not just relationship love. It's really self-love. You need to have that. So that's the first L. The second L is laughter. You got to take yourself, you can't take yourself too seriously, right? Because you're going to make mistakes in life. So you have love and you have laughter, and that's okay. The third is labor. As humans, we're wired to produce. So if you're going to do something, do it with passion and purpose. So we have love, laughter, labor. The fourth L is leisure. You got to know when to disconnect and recharge your batteries. You got to find your me time, as we call it, whatever that might be. So we have love, laughter, labor, leisure. And the fifth L, and for so many people is the most difficult of the 5 L's, is leave.
Yeah.
Know when to go. Know when it's over. Know when to pivot, adjust your sails. And that could be for anything. That could be a relationship. It could be a job. Or for many people, it's a decision that you're living with for so long, and you need to let that go.
Yeah.
So that's the 5 L's. Alone, each L has purpose. But if you have them together in a balanced fashion, they have power. And if you have the 5 L's in a balanced fashion, you can pretty much get through just about anything in life.
So, Sal, we talked about how it was for you, but talk to me about the impact of not having this had on your life.
Yeah, definitely, Daren. For me, I had only labor at one time, work. I was the vice chairman of a very large company, running around the world maybe 60% of my time. Before I knew it, my marriage failed, and I became an absentee dad, and it took me a really long time to get that back, get my son's relationship back. And I had to use all 5 L's to get that, to make that happen. So again, I'm the creator of it, but I failed. And, it's okay to recognize that as long as you bring it back together.
I mean, well, most people who have inventions and things, they really start off from a place of failure, and the key is that you're able to, to turn it around. Mike, talk to me. I mean, writing this book, really putting it out there. What's been the response that you've heard from people when they actually see this, hear this, and can really have some tangible action items they can make to turn their life around?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, by the way, and I'm going to answer it in a couple of different ways. First, when folks actually do read the book, they'll see that it's not just, fluff or hype, because people hear, 5 L's, love, laughter, labor, leisure, leave. Oh, that's fluffy. No, actually what we did in the book is we took our 70 plus years of experience where we failed, right? And then we backed it up with interviews. So we interviewed a lot of very successful people and asked them how the L's helped them go through a different part of their life, everywhere from sports personalities to high-level CEOs, people from all different backgrounds. But what's also important, I'm the data geek. So I also teach leadership at NYU. So I was like, we really have to give people tools. This can't be fluff and hype. We want to give people something they can actually use. So what we've been doing is beyond the book for the last 2.5, almost 3 years now. Sal and I have been teaching this not only nationwide, but also globally. And, you know, I have to tell you, to answer your question, we've actually had people come up to us after one of our trainings, after one of our seminars, keynote speeches, or after reading the book in tears, literally in tears, and saying, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah,
I needed this. And you know, I think that's what our goal is. You know, we all need something to help us get through the day to day. And if something can help you deal with all that stress that we're all under on a consistent basis, I mean, that's what it really means for us, because we're really just trying to make a difference and make people's lives better.
Yeah. And, you know, having these conversations where people can be able to talk about this, right? Read the book, talk about it, is quite helpful. Being able to turn the corner, really turn your life around. That's the end. That's the end goal. I'll ask you, you know, and I'll ask Sal, like, how long did it take you to realize, hey, you know what? I don't have this thing in check. I got to do something about it.
Yeah. For me personally, way too long. I'm going to be totally candid with you and totally honest with everyone who's watching or listening. So Daren, I didn't grow up with money by any stretch of the imagination. Neither Sal or I did. We've worked our tails off for everything we have today. And I did almost to the detriment of my health, almost to death, because I wanted what we talked about. Why are people pushing yourself so hard? And I would do this for years and years, traveling around the globe, all this kind of stuff with the company I was with. I was an executive board member, and my father would grab me from time to time. Sometimes he had to like kind of grab me physically to stop me because he saw me driving myself in the ground and be like, Mike, you're missing the point. The true measure of success is about the amount of lives you touch and leave for the better. And unfortunately, I didn't learn that until I actually lost my father after he had a 2-year battle with cancer. And I saw the incredible turnout, hundreds and hundreds of people every day around the block, people he hadn't seen in almost 40 years. The majority of them was his students, because he was also an adjunct professor teaching paramedics, you know, how to save people's lives. And each one of them came up to me one at a time and said, your dad changed my life. And that was kind of my aha moment. And I want to say I was in my 40s at the time. And that's when I finally started getting my act together, getting my life together, and putting the right priorities. And I was actually starting to learn the L's even before I met him. So when he told me about the L's for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, you've got to get this out to the world.
You got to write a book.
You got to write a book.
Got to write a book. Got to get the L's out. So how did you guys actually meet?
Yeah, it's a funny question, actually. I was having a few people over at my house on a Saturday night, and I didn't know Mike at the time. Mike's wife knew my partner, and it was a beautiful Saturday night, and having a couple of beverages, adult beverages, if you will. And my phone rings, and it's somebody who worked for me who would never call me on a Saturday night. So I knew something must have been up. So I excused myself, went inside, took the call, and it happened to be somebody who was calling me to tell me that he was resigning. He was quitting the job. And I said, listen, I can't talk to you right now, Max. I got a bunch of people here. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'll give you all day Sunday. Let's talk this through. So I come back out to join the crowd. And again, I didn't know Mike at the time. And Debbie, my partner, says, what's wrong? You look terrible. I said, well, Max just resigned. And she goes, well, that's your last L. Leave. Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. So he then goes, what is this last L thing? So as I just mentioned to you, the 5 L's overview, I did that to Mike, and this guy's jumping up and down.
Literally.
I didn't know that he was a professor of leadership at NYU. So he studies this stuff. I didn't know that.
Total geek.
So that's when he said, you got to write a book. And I said, swear to God, I'm not going to write a book. I'll read the book. I'm not going to write a book. About 3 days later, he shows up at my house about 7:30 at night because he was working at another job. And he's got these whiteboards and stuff. He goes, "You're going to write the book, right?" I
Yeah.
said, "Come on in, sit down."
I stalked him a little bit, Don.
Yeah.
And then I realized he's got the support, and that's in the book. All of everything we talk about, the tools and the science basis is Mike. And I said, you know what? Why don't you just co-author this thing with me? Because I don't know that deep, the science background, and that's how it started.
Yeah, and we launched the company off of that. We actually had the company going even before the book came out. The book just came out in October, and we've been so excited because of all the folks that we've been teaching over the last 2.5 years. We actually hit #1 on Amazon top hot new bestseller list. Same thing with Ingram Spark, because of all the folks that were like, when is your book coming out, guys? You've been talking about it. So it finally came out.
Right. Well, listen, before we go, I need to talk about the services, because you guys also, in addition to the book, you also provide services to people. I think that's important to let people know too, that there are some services that are available. So let the people know exactly, our viewers know what services are available and how can you help?
Sure, absolutely. Well,
jump on that.
Okay, absolutely. Well, thank you for asking. So, right out of the gates, we do customized trainings for each one of our clients, right? So every vertical you can think of, we help every different type of organization because everybody needs this, right? And everywhere from even high schools all the way up through, every different vertical that's out there. So we do customized wellness trainings. We do keynote speeches. We do seminars. And, what's important is for people to hear that they're actually going to walk away with real tools. That's the differentiator. We're going to give you something you can actually use. And it's not something you're just going to walk out of a training and go, oh God, I feel so great today. And then a week later, you're like, what did I learn? They're actually going to have something. So that I think is important. And the book is actually based on the trainings that we do. So it's just another tool that we use to help folks.
Yeah. So for people who want to get their hands on the book, how do they go about doing that?
So we're pretty much all over the place now, but you can go to Amazon, right? Look up the 5 L's. It'll pop right up. We're also on Barnes & Noble. We're in a number of different stores and outlets now, more than we even know about because our publisher just keeps shooting it out. And before we know it, oh, hey, there's the book. So the easiest way probably for most folks is on Amazon. And you can also, Barnes & Noble, you can get the hardcover, the soft cover, and also it's on Kindle. A lot of folks have been asking us to do an audio book, so that's probably going to be in the works shortly because a lot of folks like to listen to it, when they're driving or doing something else.
Darren, one thing I wanted to mention to you, I don't know if you were told, but I was actually born in the Bronx. And my father, and I dedicate the book to my dad and my mom, but my dad mostly because he had a butcher shop in the Bronx for 45 years, which I worked at for very little pay, of course. But yeah, it's in my heart. So shout out to everybody there.
Well, we're glad to have you and congratulations. Great story. Look forward to being able to meet you guys hopefully in person and keep up the great work because obviously a lot of people are struggling in this area and, they need some assistance. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
All righty. Well, I want to let you know if you want more information, visit the website at unparalleledperformance.com. Then also visit them on Facebook at unparalleled, I should say, performance. We encourage you don't go anywhere. We got more opening coming up right after this.